The alien queen warned me. My kiss is lethal to humans. I smiled back. The chamber of the Scifi hive throne was built to remind visitors how small they were. The walls rose like living cliffs, layered with dark crystal and slow-moving organic metal that pulsed faintly, as if the room itself was breathing. A soft green glow filled the vast space, coming from veins of energy that ran through the floor and walls. Every step echoed, even though the floor absorbed sound instead of reflecting it. At the center of the chamber stood a single human. Elias Mar kept his hands relaxed at his sides, even though his heart beat faster than he wanted to admit. He had trained for fear. He had trained for pain. He had trained for death. Still, standing alone in the heart of an alien empire older than human civilization made his body react before his mind could comment. Above him, on a raised throne grown from living matter, the alien queen watched. She was enormous, far larger than any human. Her form was both beautiful and terrifying. Smooth armored plates covered her body, shining like polished obsidian. Long, delicate tendrils flowed from her head like a crown of living silk. Her eyes were large, multi-layered, and glowing with ancient intelligence. The air around her shimmered faintly, carrying invisible toxins lethal to most known species. The queen did not need guards. The chamber itself was a weapon. Every breath, every particle of air near her could end a life. Elias was aware of all this. He had read the files. He had studied the simulations. He knew that no unprotected human should have lasted more than 30 seconds inside the hive throne. He had already been standing there for almost 2 minutes. The observing representatives from dozens of alien civilizations watched silently through distant quantum relays. None of them spoke. None of them moved. They were waiting. The queen finally spoke, her voice echoing not through sound but directly inside Elias' mind. "You should already be dead, human." Elias lifted his gaze slowly, meeting her eyes. His face was calm, not arrogant, not fearful, simply attentive. "I am still breathing," he replied out loud, his voice steady. "So I believe the meeting is still ongoing." A ripple moved through the queen's tendrils. It was not anger, it was curiosity. "You were warned," she said. "My presence is lethal to your kind. My breath carries spores that dissolve human cells. My touch disrupts your nervous system. Even a kiss would stop your heart." The word kiss caused a faint stir among the watching species. Some recoiled. Some leaned closer, fascinated. Elias smiled. It was not a wide smile. It was small, controlled, and genuine. "Thank you for the warning, Your Majesty," he said. "I came anyway." For the first time in centuries, the alien queen leaned forward. Humans had always been considered weak, short-lived, fragile, soft. Compared to the hardened species of the galaxy, humans were an accident that somehow survived. They relied on machines, suits, filters, and distance. No one expected a human envoy to stand unshielded before the queen of the Scifi hive. "Why?" the queen asked. "Why risk extinction for a conversation?" Elias did not answer immediately. He took a slow breath, feeling the faint burning in his lungs, the slight dizziness pressing at the edges of his vision. His body was fighting something it could not see. His blood carried counteragents, adaptive nanomedicine, and emergency protocols developed over centuries of human survival on hostile worlds. But he did not mention any of that. "Because fear has already cost this galaxy too much," he said. "And humans are tired of watching from a distance." The queen studied him in silence. She sensed no lies, no hidden aggression, only determination layered over exhaustion. "You are different from the others," she said. "Your kind usually begs or threatens." "We learned that neither works very well," Elias replied. Another moment of silence passed. The chamber pulsed softly, reacting to the queen's shifting mood. The toxic shimmer in the air thickened slightly. Several alien observers assumed this was the end. Elias felt his muscles tense. Pain flared briefly behind his eyes. He swallowed, steadying himself. The queen noticed. You feel it, she said, the beginning of failure. Yes, Elias admitted, but not the end. That answer amused her. Explain, she commanded. Elias straightened, even though his knees wanted to bend. Humans evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. Poisonous plants, predators, disease, radiation, natural disasters. We survived not because we were strongest, but because we adapted faster than we broke. The Queen's gaze sharpened. We learned to endure long before we learned to conquer, Elias continued. So when your envoys warned us that approaching you meant death, we did not hear a threat. We heard a challenge. A low, resonant sound filled the chamber. Laughter according to the Queen's species. You challenge a queen with a smile, she said. That is either bravery or foolishness. Sometimes they are the same thing, Elias replied. The Queen rose from her throne. The movement alone sent a visible wave through the chamber. The air thickened, heavy with unseen danger. Elias' vision blurred for a second. His breathing grew shallow. This time he did not hide it. If I step closer, the Queen said, descending slowly, your heart will struggle, your mind will weaken, your body will beg you to flee. I know, Elias said. Then why do you remain? Elias met her gaze again. Because if I turn away now, humans will always be kept outside your world, feared, distrusted, and someday destroyed. The Queen stopped only a few steps away from him. Up close, she was overwhelming. Her presence filled every sense. The toxins in the air surged, reacting to proximity. Elias' skin prickled. Pain flashed through his chest like a warning signal. He did not fall. The Queen lowered herself until her eyes were level with his. You believe your survival matters more than your life, she said. Elias smiled again, weaker this time, but no less sincere. I believe understanding matters more than both, he said. Something ancient shifted behind the Queen's eyes. For generations, the Scifi hive had ruled through isolation and fear. Their biology made coexistence impossible, or so they believed. No species had ever stood this close without dying, until now. The Queen extended one clawed hand, stopping just short of touching him. Do you know what would happen if I touched you? She asked. Yes, Elias said. My systems would struggle, some might fail. And if I kissed you, she asked quietly. Your people seem to assign meaning to such gestures. Elias did not look away. Then it would either prove your warning true, he said, or prove that the future can be different. The chamber fell completely silent. Across the galaxy, observers held their breath. The Queen withdrew her hand. Not today, she said. Elias released a breath he did not realize he had been holding. You have surprised me, human, the Queen continued. This meeting was meant to confirm your weakness. Instead, it has raised questions. She turned, ascending back to her throne. The toxic pressure eased slightly, allowing Elias to breathe more freely. His legs trembled, but he remained standing. You will return, the Queen said, and next time the test will be greater. Elias bowed his head respectfully. Humans will be ready. As the chamber doors began to open, Elias allowed himself one final glance back. The Queen was watching him with something dangerously close to interest. And for the first time in recorded history, the galaxy wondered if humans were not fragile at all, but simply unfinished. Elias Mar did not collapse until the doors of the hive throne sealed behind him. The moment the living walls closed, the pressure in the air changed. The toxic presence of the alien Queen faded, not gone but distant, like a storm moving away. Elias took 3 unsteady steps forward before his legs finally gave out. He dropped to one knee, then both, his hands pressing against the smooth floor as he fought to keep consciousness. A soft mechanical hum filled the corridor. The human medical field activated automatically, responding to the spike in stress chemicals, damaged cells, and oxygen imbalance in his blood. Invisible nanomedicine surged through his veins, repairing what it could, slowing what it could not. Elias breathed in slowly. Each breath still burned, but the fire was no longer spreading. He had survived. That fact alone sent shockwaves through the galaxy. In distant chambers, alien leaders argued in quiet panic. Species that had ruled star systems for thousands of years stared at their screens in disbelief. Data scrolled endlessly, confirming what should not have been possible. A human had stood before the Zyrathi queen. A human had endured her presence. A human had smiled. Inside the hive, the queen remained motionless on her throne long after Elias had gone. Her thoughts were not chaotic, as lesser species believed. They were layered, deep, and patient. She replayed the encounter again and again, analyzing every breath the human took, every shift in his posture, every change in his eyes. He had been afraid. That mattered. Fear meant understanding. Fear meant choice. Fear meant courage. The queen extended her awareness through the hive. Millions of minds responded instantly. The workers felt her curiosity. The guardians sensed her uncertainty. The ancient ones, buried deep within the living core of the hive, stirred for the first time in generations. The human had broken a pattern. Patterns were dangerous to break. Back aboard the human envoy vessel, Elias lay on a medical platform surrounded by soft blue light. His body was still, but his mind drifted between waking and sleep. Doctors spoke quietly nearby, careful not to disturb the delicate balance keeping him stable. Cell damage is within acceptable limits, one of them said. Adaptive agents performed better than projected. Better than projected does not mean safe, another replied. He pushed past the margins. Elias heard their voices but did not open his eyes. He remembered the queen's gaze, the way the air itself seemed to judge him, the question she had not asked aloud. Why are you really here? He knew the answer, even if he had not spoken it. Humanity was running out of places to hide. The galaxy was old. Empires were stable. Borders were set. Humans were newcomers, expanding fast, adapting faster, but still seen as unpredictable, dangerous in their own way, too emotional, too stubborn, too willing to risk everything. Sooner or later, fear would turn into force, unless something changed. Elias opened his eyes. I need to go back, he said quietly. The doctors froze. Not possible, one said immediately. Your body needs time. I don't mean now, Elias replied, but soon. Before the silence becomes a decision. Silence was how the Zyrathi judged threats. They did not rush. They waited. And when they acted, entire civilizations vanished. The Human Council received the Queen's response 12 hours later. It was short. The human will return. Alone, no barriers, no weapons, no interference. Panic spread through the council chamber. She wants to finish him, one representative said. No, another replied slowly. She wants to understand him. Understanding was more dangerous than hostility. Elias stood before the council, still pale but steady. He listened as they argued around him. Some wanted to refuse. Some wanted to send a fleet. Some wanted to pull back from Zyrathi space entirely. None of them asked Elias what he wanted. Finally, he spoke. If I don't go, he said, she will assume we were testing her limits. That makes us a threat. And if you do go, someone asked. Elias met their eyes. Then she will test ours. The council fell silent. The return journey to the hive throne was longer than the first. Not in distance, but in weight. Elias felt the eyes of the galaxy on him again. This time they were not curious, they were afraid. The doors opened once more. The chamber felt different. The air was heavier than before, but controlled, focused. The queen sat upright, her posture alert. Around her, the living walls shifted, forming new structures Elias had not seen before. Symbols, patterns, observational growths designed to study him. You returned, the queen said. Yes, Elias replied. You were damaged, she observed. Yes. Yet you came back. Yes. The queen descended again, slower this time, more deliberate. You could have sent another, she said. I was the one who smiled, Elias replied simply. It should be me. The queen stopped several steps away. The air thickened again. Elias felt the familiar pressure, stronger now. His heart rate climbed. His vision narrowed. This time he did not hide the struggle. "You prepare yourself," the Queen said. "You reinforce your body with machines and chemicals." "Yes," Elias said between breaths. "Is that your strength?" "No," he replied. "It's our response to weakness." The Queen tilted her head. "Explain." "We are not the strongest species," Elias said. "We never were, so we learn to work with what we have: tools, medicine. Cooperation. We do not deny our limits, we build around them." The Queen moved closer. Elias' knees trembled, but he stayed upright. "Other species hide their weakness," she said. "You display yours." "Yes," Elias said, "because hiding it never made it disappear." The Queen raised one clawed hand again. This time she did not stop short. She moved it closer, slowly, watching every reaction. The toxic field intensified. Elias' breath hitched. Pain flared across his chest. His muscles locked for a second before he forced them to relax. The medical systems inside him screamed warnings. He ignored them. "Enough," Elias said quietly. The Queen froze. "You command me?" she asked. "No," Elias replied. "I ask you to see me." Silence filled the chamber again. The Queen withdrew her hand. "You are failing," she said. "Yes," Elias agreed. "But I am still standing." That was when the Queen understood. Humans did not measure success the same way. Where other species saw survival as proof of superiority, humans saw survival as progress. Where others stopped at pain, humans negotiated with it. They did not expect perfection. They expected effort. The Queen returned to her throne. "You will stay," she said. Elias looked up sharply. "Here. In the outer chamber," she clarified. "You will breathe our air, eat our sustenance, rest under our influence." Elias hesitated. "That environment is lethal long-term," the Queen said. "You may not survive." "Then we will learn," Elias replied. The Queen studied him for a long moment. "So be it." The decision sent immediate shockwaves through the hive. No outsider had ever remained within Scifi space unprotected. The hive adjusted, not to protect Elias but to observe him. Sensors grew. Biological recorders activated. The environment was carefully balanced to remain dangerous but not instantly fatal. Elias' days blurred together. Time passed differently within the hive. He slept in short cycles. He ate carefully processed nutrients that tasted foreign but sustaining. His body ached constantly. His systems worked non-stop. Some days were harder than others, but he adapted. Slowly his breathing stabilized. His recovery times shortened. His tolerance increased. The hive noticed. The Queen noticed more. She watched him from afar at first, then closer. She saw how he rested when needed, how he pushed when required, how he accepted help without pride and pain without complaint. He was not fearless, he was committed. One cycle, the Queen approached him without warning. "You are changing," she said. "Yes," Elias replied. "So is the hive." The Queen considered that. "You weaken us by existing here," she said. "I hope," Elias answered, "that I strengthen you instead." The Queen looked at him for a long time. "For the first time," she said, "my people ask questions." That admission carried weight. Outside the hive, the galaxy held its breath. Inside, a fragile human continued to endure. And the Queen began to wonder whether her warning had been wrong all along. Not because her kiss was not lethal, but because humans had never measured life by safety alone. They measured it by meaning. Elias learned quickly that the hive did not sleep the way humans did. There was no true night inside the Scifi domain. The living walls dimmed and brightened in slow cycles, but the hive itself was always active. Something was always moving, growing, observing. Even when Elias rested, he could feel the awareness around him, like standing in shallow water where unseen currents brushed against his legs. His body ached in new ways now. The first days had been about survival, breathing, standing, eating without collapsing. Now the pain had become quieter, deeper, like a constant pressure inside his bones. His medical systems adapted again and again, rewriting internal rules, adjusting tolerances, sacrificing comfort for stability. He welcomed it. Pain meant data. Data meant improvement. The hive recorded everything. Every breath Elias took was analyzed. Every tremor in his hands, every slight change in his posture, every moment of weakness or recovery. The queen had ordered it so, not to help him, not to harm him, only to understand. Understanding was sacred to the Scifi. On the seventh cycle, Elias collapsed. It happened without drama. He had been walking through one of the outer chambers, a space grown wide to allow him movement while still maintaining hive conditions. His vision narrowed suddenly. His legs stopped responding. He fell forward, striking the living floor with a dull sound. The hive reacted instantly. Organic structures shifted. The air composition adjusted slightly, not enough to save him, but enough to prevent immediate death. Drones emerged from the walls surrounding his unmoving form. From her throne, the queen felt the change. He has reached a limit, one of the ancient minds murmured through the hive consciousness. Limits are where growth begins, the queen replied. She descended from her throne and moved through the living corridors, her presence bending the hive around her. When she arrived, Elias was conscious but barely. His breathing was shallow. His heart struggled against chemical imbalance. She stood over him, watching. "You are failing again," she said. Elias forced his eyes open. His vision blurred, but he recognized her shape. "Yes," he whispered, "still here." The queen lowered herself closer. "Your body weakens," she said. "Your systems cannot keep up forever." "No," Elias agreed. "They can't." "Then why continue?" she asked. "What outcome do you expect?" Elias swallowed, speaking hurt, thinking hurt more. "I don't expect," he said slowly. "I invest." The queen waited. "Every moment I stay," Elias continued, "you learn what it takes for us to survive. And we learn what it takes to exist near you. Even if I don't make it, the next human will last longer." The queen felt something unfamiliar tighten within her vast awareness. "You would let yourself die," she said, "to make the next attempt easier." "Yes," Elias replied. "That's how we crossed oceans, deserts, space." The hive stirred. Sacrifice was not unknown to the Scifi, but it was controlled, calculated, and collective. Individual sacrifice without command was rare. "You were not ordered to do this," the queen said. "No," Elias answered. "I volunteered." The queen straightened. "Then stand," she commanded. Elias tried. His arms shook violently. He pushed against the floor, rising a few centimeters before collapsing again. Pain flared white-hot across his chest. His breath broke into gasps. The queen watched closely. "Again," she said. Elias forced himself to move, slowly, painfully. He rolled onto his side, then his knees. His body screamed in protest. His systems flooded his blood with stabilizers, burning through reserves faster than recommended. He did not stop. On the third attempt he stood, barely. The hive reacted immediately. Structures shifted, redistributing toxins, not reducing them but making their flow more even. The queen had not commanded this. The hive had chosen it. "Interesting." "You are inefficient," the queen said. Elias managed a weak smile. "We usually are." She studied him for a long moment. "Come," she said. She led him deeper into the hive than he had ever gone before. The inner chambers were older, denser. The air carried layers of history, thick with the presence of countless minds woven together. Elias felt pressure not just on his body but on his thoughts. Memories that were not his brushed against his consciousness and retreated. He staggered. "This place kills most species in seconds," the queen said. "Even ours avoid it." Elias focused on breathing. "Good place to learn," he muttered. They stopped before a vast organic structure, pulsing slowly like a massive heart. "This is the core," the queen said. "It sustains us. It also amplifies what we are." Elias felt it immediately. His pain sharpened. His heartbeat became erratic. His vision flickered. "Why bring me here?" he asked. "To test truth," the queen replied. "No deception survives this place." She stepped closer to him. Closer than ever before. The toxic field intensified sharply. Elias gasped. His knees buckled. His medical system screamed warnings louder than before, initiating emergency protocols without waiting for permission. The Queen raised one clawed hand. "Do not activate your countermeasures," she said. Elias looked up at her, eyes wide. "If you do," she continued, "you will survive, but I will learn nothing." Silence stretched between them. The hive waited. Elias' body shook violently. His breath came in ragged pulls. His instincts screamed at him to fight, to protect himself, to activate every safeguard he had. Slowly, with visible effort, he disabled them. The pain exploded. It felt like his blood had turned to fire. His nerves screamed. His vision narrowed to a tunnel. He cried out, unable to stop himself. The Queen did not move. She watched. Moments passed that felt like eternity. Then something unexpected happened. Elias did not fall. He swayed, teeth clenched, hands trembling, but he remained upright. His body adjusted in real time, not through machines, but through biology pushed to its absolute limit. His cells responded to stress by hardening, slowing damage, redirecting energy. Primitive, inefficient, effective. The Queen felt it clearly. "You endure," she said softly. Elias could barely hear her. His world was pain and effort and breath. "Humans don't stop at pain," he whispered. "We stop at meaning." The Queen stepped even closer. Now there was no space between them. Her presence pressed against him completely. Her breath brushed his face. Her energy wrapped around him like a storm. This was the distance of her warning. This was where death usually came. Elias' heart stuttered. His vision went black at the edges. His body finally began to fail. The Queen reached out. She touched his shoulder. The hive gasped as one. Contact. The pain peaked, then changed. It did not vanish, but it focused. His systems adapted instantly to the new data. The moment of contact rewrote assumptions on both sides. The Queen felt it too. Human biology reacted not just to harm, but to connection. The contact stabilized certain reactions instead of worsening them. The lethal effect was still present, but altered. Fascinating. She withdrew her hand. Elias collapsed to his knees, gasping, sweat pouring down his face. He did not lose consciousness. "You live," the Queen said. "Barely," Elias managed. "But you learned," she said. "Yes," he replied, "and so did you." The Queen turned away, returning to the core. "You were warned," she said. "My kiss is lethal to humans." Elias laughed weakly, then coughed. "Then it's good," he said, "that we're not there yet." The Queen paused. "For the first time," she said slowly, "I question whether lethal means final." The hive shifted, unsettled. Beyond the hive, alarms began to sound across distant systems. Rival powers had detected the change. The core's output had altered. Something fundamental had shifted within the Scifi, and it was because a single human refused to fall when logic said he should. Elias was carried back to his resting chamber by hive constructs, unconscious but alive. The Queen remained alone at the core. Humans were no longer an unknown variable. They were a force defined by refusal, refusal to quit, refusal to accept limits, refusal to fear what could be understood. And for the first time in her long existence, the alien Queen felt something dangerously close to anticipation. Because the next test would not be survival. It would be trust. Elias did not wake all at once. Consciousness returned in slow pieces, like light filtering through heavy fog. First came sound, a low organic hum that never fully stopped inside the hive. Then sensation followed. Weight, pressure, pain, steady but controlled. Finally, memory returned, sharp and immediate. The core, the touch, the Queen. His eyes opened. He lay within a living chamber shaped like a shallow cradle. The surface beneath him adjusted gently as he moved, supporting his weakened body. The air was thinner than before, still dangerous but carefully balanced. His chest rose and fell slowly. Each breath burned, but less than he expected. That worried him. When something stopped hurting inside the hive, it usually meant it had changed. He shifted his hand and felt a faint vibration beneath the surface, like a pulse responding to his movement. The hive knew he was awake. Moments later, the queen arrived. She did not announce herself. She never needed to. The air shifted, pressure thickened, and awareness spread through the chamber like a tide. Elias turned his head slightly, forcing his eyes to focus. She stood several steps away, watching him. "You should not have survived," she said. Elias managed a weak smile. "I hear that a lot." "That was not humor," the queen replied. "I know," Elias said. "It still counts." The queen studied him in silence. Her presence felt different now, focused, narrowed, as if she were restraining something vast and dangerous inside herself. "You disabled your defenses," she said. "You chose vulnerability." "Yes." "Why?" she asked again. "You already proved endurance." Elias took a careful breath. "Endurance without trust only delays conflict." The queen moved closer. "Trust is not a survival trait," she said. "It is a weakness." "For some species," Elias replied. "For us, it's how we build things that last longer than fear." The hive reacted to his words. Subtle shifts, data spikes. Elias could not see them, but he felt the change like a structure reconsidering its own shape. "You changed the core," the queen said. "Not physically, conceptually." Elias frowned slightly. "I didn't mean to." "That makes it worse," she replied. The queen turned away and began to pace slowly. Each step sent ripples through the living chamber. "The core amplifies what exists," she continued. "Aggression becomes conquest, fear becomes extinction, stability becomes stagnation. You introduced a contradiction." Elias listened carefully. "You endured without domination," she said. "You adapted without demanding control. You suffered without hatred." She stopped and faced him. "The hive does not know how to process that." Elias exhaled slowly. "Neither did we at first." The queen watched his breathing, his heart rate, his recovery curve. He was still weak, still vulnerable, still dangerous. "External forces are reacting," she said. Elias stiffened. "Who?" "Several coalitions," the queen replied. "Species that fear change more than death. They detected the shift in the core and assumed corruption." "That means invasion," Elias said quietly. "Yes," the queen agreed. "And they will not hesitate to destroy both of us." Elias closed his eyes for a moment. Humanity had expected resistance, but not this fast. "What are you going to do?" he asked. The queen did not answer immediately. Instead, she did something unprecedented. She opened the hive to him, not physically, mentally. Elias gasped as information brushed against his consciousness. Not raw data, but impressions, warnings, strategic awareness. He saw distant fleets aligning, energy signatures gathering. Weapons designed to sterilize entire biospheres. They were coming. The queen withdrew the connection before it overwhelmed him. "You are here because of this," she said. "You forced the galaxy to notice us changing." "I'm sorry," Elias said. The queen tilted her head. "You assume regret." "Should I not?" Elias asked. "If you regret this," she said, "then you misunderstand what you are." Elias waited. "You are not an accident," the queen continued. "Your species did not stumble into the stars. You forced your way there through pressure and refusal." She moved closer to his resting platform. "The coming conflict will test more than endurance," she said. "It will test intention." Elias swallowed. "You want to know if we will stand with you?" "Yes," the queen replied. "Without immunity, without dominance, without lies." Elias did not answer right away. He thought of Earth, of fragile cities clinging to hostile worlds, of humans working together not because it was easy but because failure meant extinction. He thought of history full of mistakes and second chances bought with pain. "We don't stand above," he said finally, "and we don't kneel, we stand with." The queen studied him carefully. "That choice will expose your weakness," she warned. Elias nodded. "We already live exposed." The first attack came sooner than expected. The hive trembled as long-range impacts rippled through its outer layers. Defensive structures activated instantly, organic and precise. The queen straightened, her presence expanding rapidly. "They have crossed the boundary," she said. Elias tried to sit up and failed. "Then I need to warn my people," he said. "They already know," the queen replied. "Your ships detected the movement, they hesitate." Elias clenched his jaw. "Because they think this is your war." "And you?" the queen asked. Elias met her gaze. "I think this is the galaxy deciding whether cooperation survives." The queen extended one clawed hand toward him. "Then witness," she said. The hive responded. Elias felt the shift immediately. Defensive organisms flowed through corridors, energy redistributed. The hive did not lash out blindly. It prepared, calculated, adapted. Yet something was missing: fear. The queen sensed it too. "Our attackers do not fear us enough," she said. "They believe we are isolated." Elias' mind raced. "They don't know how humans fight," he said. "Explain." "We don't win by overwhelming force," Elias said. "We win by refusing to let the other side control the pace." He looked up at her. "Let me speak to them." The queen hesitated. "Words will not stop weapons," she said. "No," Elias agreed, "but they can redirect them." The queen considered the risk. A human voice, unprotected, addressing hostile powers while standing inside the hive. It was reckless, which meant it might work. "Very well," she said. The hive opened a channel. Across multiple systems, Elias' image appeared. Pale, weak, human, standing beside the most feared entity in known space. "You are attacking because you sense change," Elias said, his voice steady despite the pain. "You fear instability." Silence answered him. "The Scifi are not preparing to expand," he continued. "They are preparing to adapt, and that scares you more than war." A ripple of tension spread through the enemy fleets. "You believe cooperation makes us weaker," Elias said. "But history shows the opposite. Isolation decays, connection evolves." A commander finally responded. "Humans are manipulators," the voice said. "You weaken what you touch." Elias smiled faintly. "We weaken walls, not foundations." He turned slightly toward the queen. "They will not stop," he said quietly. "No," the queen agreed. "They will escalate." Elias inhaled slowly. "Then let us show them something new." The queen raised her awareness again, but this time she did not isolate it within the hive. She extended it outward, linking with human systems nearby. The connection was imperfect, painful, risky, but it worked. Human ships adjusted formation, not for attack but for defense. They positioned themselves between the hive and the incoming fleets, forming overlapping shields and interference zones. Not aggressive, protective. The galaxy hesitated. "Why would you protect them?" the enemy commander demanded. Elias answered simply. "Because survival without understanding is just delayed extinction." The first shots never came. Sensors registered hesitation spreading through the attacking forces. Doubt fractured their unity. Some fleets withdrew. Others powered down weapons, uncertain. The queen felt it clearly. "You did not fight," she said. "You confused them." Elias exhaled shakily. "That's usually step one." The hive stabilized. Damage was minimal. The core settled into a new equilibrium, altered but intact. The queen looked down at the human who had survived her presence, her touch, and now her war. "You have bound your fate to ours," she said. Elias nodded. "That was always the point." She extended her hand again, not touching, not retreating. "Then the final test approaches," she said. Elias met her gaze. "Trust," he said. "Yes," the queen replied. And for the first time, neither of them knew who was risking more. The hive was quieter than Elias had ever felt it, not silent but focused. Every movement, every pulse of organic structure carried purpose. The confusion of the attack had passed, leaving behind something new and unfamiliar. The hive was not preparing for war. It was preparing for choice. Elias stood at the edge of the inner chamber, supported by a thin medical frame grown from hive matter and human design. He was stronger than before, but not whole. His body still carried scars at levels no scanner could fully measure. He could feel the queen nearby, not as pressure alone, but as attention. She was waiting. "You have reached the end of what endurance can prove," the queen said. Elias nodded slowly. "I figured as much. You have survived my presence. You have changed the core. You have bound your people to my defense," she continued. "Those actions altered probability across the galaxy." Elias breathed carefully. "But none of that answers the real question." "No," the queen agreed. "It does not." She moved forward, each step deliberate. The hive did not react defensively this time. It adjusted like a body preparing for surgery rather than battle. "Endurance creates respect," the queen said. "Cooperation creates leverage, but trust creates vulnerability." Elias looked up at her. "And vulnerability is the only thing that actually changes anything." The queen studied him for a long time. "My biology is lethal to yours," she said again. "That truth has not changed." "No," Elias replied, "but what it means might have." She extended her awareness outward, briefly touching the edge of human space. Elias felt the link, faint but present. Human ships waited nearby, not with weapons hot, but with systems aligned to respond if he stopped responding. "They will try to stop this," the queen said. "I told them not to," Elias answered. "They won't like it, but they'll respect it." "You place great faith in your species," she observed. Elias smiled softly. "They'll argue about it for decades, but they'll honor it." The queen stepped closer. This was closer than ever before. The air thickened immediately. Elias' breath shortened. His heart rate climbed. His body reacted before his mind could slow it down. He felt the familiar burn in his lungs, the warning signals rising. His systems did not activate automatically. He had disabled the failsafes earlier. "You understand what this means," the queen said. "Yes," Elias replied, voice tight but steady. "This is not about survival anymore." "No," she agreed. "It is about proof." The hive leaned inward, not physically but conceptually. Every ancient mind within it focused on the moment. This was not a test written into instinct or law. This was something new. The queen lowered herself until her face was level with Elias'. "You warned your people that my kiss would be lethal," she said. "You accepted that knowledge and came anyway." "Yes." "Why?" she asked, not as a challenge but as a genuine question. Elias took a slow breath. Each inhale hurt more than the last. "Because humans learned something early," he said. "If you only touch what's safe, you never leave where you started." The queen's tendrils shifted slightly, not aggression, something closer to thought. "You could die," she said. "Yes." "You could fail," she added. "Yes." "You could prove that coexistence is impossible," she finished. Elias met her gaze. "Then at least the galaxy will know we didn't choose fear." The queen straightened slightly, then did something no Scifi ruler had ever done. She restrained herself. Her toxic field did not retract. That would have been protection. Instead, she focused it, controlled it, redirected it inward, reducing its spread without removing its nature. This cost her. The hive reacted with concern. The ancient minds shifted uneasily. "You harm yourself," Elias said, sensing the strain. "I limit myself," the queen corrected. "There is a difference." She stepped closer again. Now they were within the distance of her warning. This was where death usually came quietly and without drama. Elias' vision blurred. His knees trembled. Pain surged through his chest like a wave. His body screamed for intervention. He stayed upright. The queen raised one hand, not clawed now, but carefully positioned. She did not touch him yet. "This is the final boundary," she said. "Beyond this point, biology becomes destiny." Elias swallowed. "Or a challenge," the queen paused. "You humans speak of kisses as symbols," she said. "Connection, commitment, risk." "Yes," Elias replied, "and consequence." "If I proceed," she said, "there will be no certainty." "There never is," Elias answered. "Only choice." The queen closed the remaining distance. There was no sudden movement, no drama, just intention. Her presence wrapped around Elias completely. The pressure intensified, sharper than anything before. His heart stumbled. His breath broke, his vision darkened at the edges. She leaned closer. The hive held its collective breath. Contact came not as pain, but as overload. Elias felt everything at once: heat, cold, pressure, a sensation like standing in a storm made of living energy. His nervous system flared, then struggled to stabilize. His consciousness flickered, threatening to collapse. The Queen felt it too. Human biology reacted not by resisting alone, but by synchronizing. Microadjustments cascaded through Elias' body. Cells slowed. Heart rhythm shifted. Breathing changed pattern, not enough to make it safe, enough to make it possible. The contact lasted only a moment. Then the Queen withdrew. Elias collapsed forward, caught by the medical frame as his body finally gave in. Alarms rang inside him, but they were different now. Less panic, more calculation. He was alive, barely, completely, undeniably alive. The hive erupted, not in noise but in reaction. Data surged. Patterns rewrote themselves. The core pulsed, then stabilized at a new baseline. One that included humans as a known variable, not an anomaly. The Queen stepped back, her posture unsteady for the first time. "You live," she said quietly. Elias struggled to lift his head. His vision was still blurred, but he managed a faint smile. "Guess," he whispered, "you'll need a new warning." The Queen did not respond immediately. She was listening, not to him but to the galaxy. Signals flooded in. Sensors across multiple systems recorded the event. Biological thresholds once thought absolute had been crossed. Not broken, expanded. Fear rippled outward, then something else followed: curiosity. The Queen turned back to Elias. "You have proven something dangerous," she said. "What's that?" Elias asked weakly. "That destiny is negotiable," she replied. She straightened, regaining full control of herself. The hive settled, adapting around the new reality. "You are no longer an outsider," she said, "nor are you subject." Elias exhaled slowly. "Then what are we?" The Queen considered the question carefully. "Bound," she said. "By choice, not command." Across human space, signals updated. Status markers changed. Threat projections recalculated. For the first time, the Scifi hive was no longer listed as an isolationist extinction risk. It was listed as an ally. Elias was carried gently back to his chamber. This time the hive adjusted the air without being asked. Not to make it safe, to make it survivable. The Queen remained alone for a long time after. She replayed the moment again and again. The contact, the adaptation, the refusal to surrender even when logic demanded it. Humans were not immune. They were persistent. And that, she realized, was far more dangerous to the old order of the galaxy. Days later, when Elias was finally able to stand without assistance, the Queen met him one last time. "The galaxy will test this bond," she said. "They will look for weakness." Elias nodded. "They always do. And they will find it," she continued, "in both of us." Elias smiled, stronger now. "That's fine. Weakness is where we start building." The Queen watched him go, the human who had walked into death with a smile and walked out carrying a future. The warning still stood. Her kiss was lethal, but the galaxy had learned something new. Lethal did not always mean the end. Sometimes it meant the beginning.